Hey guys, this is Chris with Headlight Revolution, and today we've got a 2016 Ford F350 in the shop, and I'm going to show you guys how to do some brake lights, turn signals, and reverse lights in the rear of this truck. I'm also going to show you how to install the resistors so you don't get that fast blink. And today we're going to be installing the GTR lighting resistor kit, vehicle specific, and also the 80-watt brake light bulbs. The first step to get this taillight out of the truck is removing these two screws on the inside here. And these are 8mm bolts. They come out just like so. And then you just grab this edge of the taillight here, pull it toward you. It should snap right out. And we're just going to turn these bulbs counterclockwise and just let them hang for a second here. Take the taillight and just set it in the back of the truck. Now we can work on this without worrying about scratching anything. The first thing I'm going to be installing is this Ultra Series reverse light from GTR Lighting. And that just replaces the factory reverse light. There's nothing special there. No resistors or anything like that. And as you can see, this is a work truck. It's dirty. It pulls trailers. This guy is a very busy man. And I don't want you guys to think that it's just show trucks that get these LED bulbs. These things are super functional. If you're ever driving your truck at night, you're backing into parking spots, you're pulling a trailer, whatever you're doing, you need these. As soon as you get them, you'll wonder how you ever didn't have them. So that's done. And now we're going to move to this brake light. And for these, we're going to be doing the 80-watt series from GTR Lighting. And I've been told that they've got a carbide series that's coming out for this truck. And by the time this video is posted, it probably will be out. And as soon as they get that out, we'll be selling that. But that just installs the same as the factory bulb. And now we need to install a resistor so that we don't get fast blink. And fast blink is when you turn your turn signal on and it just rapidly fires off that turn signal. And it doesn't really hurt anything, but it's not the same as the factory. We want it to be as factory as possible for this guy. So we're going to pull this wire loom back and expose the 3 wires behind it. To test these wires, the first thing you need to do is turn your turn signal on in your truck. You can just go hit your hazard button, get the flashers going, and we're going to go ahead and use our multimeter and check the pins on this socket and just make sure that these 2 outside wires are what we're looking for. As you can see on this multimeter, we've got a flashing voltage here. We've got 12 volts and then we've got like 9 volts. And what's really happening is it's actually losing voltage. This meter is just not picking up on it, completely dropping out. On some multimeters, you're going to have the meter just say overload or OL and then 0 volts. On some of them, it's going to do this. Sometimes it is different per vehicle. So ultimately, that's what you're looking for, something of that nature, something getting voltage and then losing it. That's how we know we're on the right wire. If I switch these leads and go to these 2 pins on the outside, on the meter I just have 0 volts. I've got nothing going on. And what that's telling me is that would be my parking light circuit. And that's not what we want. For this resistor, you want to be tied in to the blinking circuit, the turn signal circuit. The cool part about the resistor, it's got these 2 wires coming off of it. And it doesn't matter which way you set this up. You can hook this one up to positive or this one up to negative. It does not matter. So as long as you have the 2 correct wires, you can hook it up like so. Mount this to metal. You really want to mount this to metal. These things do get pretty hot. In this case, on this truck, I'm going to be able to stick it right up here and it won't be in the way. Make sure wherever you put it, it's not in the way. You don't want to get all this done and go to put your taillight back in and it doesn't fit. So GTR Lighting supplies you with these connectors, and they're called T-taps. And if you've got no other way to install this, these aren't the worst option. However, we're located in northern Minnesota. We have corrosion, salt-induced corrosion, I would say, and it seems to really affect things like bare wires pretty badly. And so in this case, I'm going to solder these wires. With the turn signals and parking lights off, it's safe to work on these wires now. And the first step would be, as you can see, I've already pulled this loom back. We've identified our wires. And I like to go as far back on the wire harness as possible. I'm gonna get this out of the way just in case it's in your way. So if I can get this far back, I'd like to, because that way I can still have this out here. It's not gonna be yanking on the resistor wiring afterwards. It's as far out of the way as possible. Use your wire stripper of choice. I've got this automatic stripper. You can get these for like 10 to 15 bucks at most hardware stores. You can probably see why now we've shut the lights off. Last thing you want to do is be chasing fuses around after you do this install. Strip the ends of your resistor and just wrap the wiring around there. There's plenty of soldering tutorials on YouTube. I'm not going to teach you guys everything about that. You know, if you probably have the stuff for it, you probably know how to do it, but this is how I'm going to do it. So I'm just going to go ahead and solder these wires now. And then I'm just going to use some good 3M electrical tape to seal these up. Now, I've had people ask why I don't use heat shrink before. And there's a reason for that, and heat shrink has its place. But to use heat shrink on a connection like this, you would have to actually cut this original wire to fit the heat shrink over it. And I'd rather not cut the wire if I can. If I can just tee into it, I'd rather do that. That way, I never have to worry about this thing coming apart and potentially leaving this guy without a working tail light. So, just personal preference. You know, some people would prefer to use heat shrink and cut that wire, and if that's the way you want to do it, then so be it. And now what I'm going to do, because we want this to look as factory as possible, is I'm going to put this plastic loom over the wiring again and just tape it up. And that way it's abrasion resistant. I don't have to worry about it rubbing like this piece of metal here and getting cut up and shorted out. Now the final step in mounting this resistor, this is kind of the fun part, is using the supplied screw that comes in the kit and drilling it to a solid metal surface. And the reason I say it's a fun part is I have a habit of dropping these screws, and usually it's on camera, so if you guys see that, just be forewarned. Alright, with the resistor mounted, we should be able to put everything back together and test these bulbs, make sure everything's working just fine, and then put the taillight back on. Now to test your reverse light, you're going to want to set your parking brake, turn your key to the on position, don't start the vehicle, and put the shifter in reverse. Make sure that this is in the right way. As you can see, the bulb powered up just fine. On the off chance that it doesn't, just take the bulb out, flip it around 180 degrees, put it back in. So, we know this works, and we know this works. Grab your taillight, and we're just going to put the bulb in and twist it clockwise to lock it in place. Bring it back to the vehicle. As you can see, there's not a whole lot to the install. It's not too terrible. Everything fits well. The GTR lighting products plug in exactly how they should. They work just the way they should. The resistor's not that bad either. We do get some questions on the resistor, and as you can see, if you can do the testing, it's not so bad. We've got output videos of these reverse lights that you should definitely check out if you're on the fence as to whether or not you want them. I'll post a link in the description below. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys subscribe.